remember.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a variety of different projects, as we all know. One thought I had was if we could focus on a certain area, perhaps a certain district or a certain village, and then have a large global grant, and then subsequent, or at the same time, small district grants to address the total village, to have a holistic approach for that whole area. And rather than the way we oftentimes do it with a project here and a project there, focus all of our efforts into one specific area. That was one thought. I have lots of thoughts. We'll just go one at a time. So go ahead, Arjun, your turn.
Yeah, Arjun.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I missed the background. So what am I supposed to say, Naomi? Can you please give me what's the expectation here?
Well, first of all, I think we should back up and talk about some of the projects that we have done.
Oh, okay.
Cities. Okay, and then from there, where can we collaborate and see if there's a larger project that we could do together, and maybe bring in other partners in, and really make a big impact on a project that is really needed. So do you want to start with what projects you've done and what cities you've done it in? What time?
Sure. Of course, DG Rajiv, PDG Rajiv, and Mark, and you of course know. So currently we have 4 active grants actually. So from our district is leading, 2 in Damauli, 1 just completed actually. PDG Rajiv is the one who inaugurated the project handover program. He was there, and Mark and I attended. So when we talk about impact is kind of hard to measure, quantify. But when I look at it, so for example, Chundera village, DG Rajiv went. So those school girls who had to walk 2 hours in the dry season, one way, 2 hours to get drinking water. And other organizations, just to name one, is Red Cross, spent more than $200,000 in that village and didn't work. So the way we did it, our way, the Rotaries way, DG Rajiv went again, and it worked. And now, thanks to all of our effort, so the kids from that village, they have running water at home actually. So now they can go to school and things like that. So this is where the impact coming. Not only that beautiful village, almost 200 households migrated. Actually, PDG Rajiv, he noticed and he mentioned that the village seems, many people abandoned the village. But now, within a couple of months, we see reverse migration in the village. So that's a very impactful. And similarly, on the nearby village, we have another active global grant that's in education focus in 2 schools. What we're trying to do is build science labs, coordinating with other people, including Associate Dean of Louisiana University, Durga, who is originally from the village. So these labs, what we're going to support in the school, we're kind of envisioning it as a sort of like a pilot project, one example, and then hoping to extend to many other schools, copies. So the science lab, not necessarily just science, but mostly about the vocational science, like engineering, agriculture, so that the students, when they graduate high school, they get some sort of technical skills with the certification, so they can really go to workforce. Other one we just completed is in Dhading Hospital. Did not have any ventilators when we started. That serves over 250,000 people in that area. And now the hospital, they received ventilators from other sources as well as ours. And then the hospital has many life-saving equipments. Another grant we completed last year was in Lahan. That's also WASH focused, WASH in schools. James Ham is not here. He was leading that project. Those are one our district is leading, and we made some small contribution to a global grant. PDG Rajiv himself is leading. That's in Jajarkot. So that's a very remote area. Most of the global grants I have seen are around Kathmandu, actually. So we have to try to go a little further away, far from, where many people have not reached. So less privilege or that kind of thing. And now, so meeting like this, and we are coming from different background, different areas, definitely working together, we will make it, we kind of synergize that impactness as well, increase more. And I think this is really good start, and I'm glad PDG Rajiv is here. His insight has been really valuable to do many projects, and he has all himself done many projects, and communication, everything has been great. I think I talked too much now. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So let's go back to Rose. Rose, what projects have you done in what city, what towns?
So we've done a number of different projects in a lot of different areas of Nepal. We did a biogas project that was a district grant with Rajiv out in Sindhupal Chowk. We've done a bicycles for girls with Rajiv down in the Tarai area. I also completed with Rajiv this year a goat farming project similar to a heifer project here in the States. And that was somewhere, so outside of Sindhupal Chowk. So I'm doing an education project with Samir from Kathmandu Heights. And this is a project working on getting the kids of daily wage workers that have no resources to go back to school, helping them to get back to school by providing them with their uniforms, their books, and all of that thing. The goal on that one was to reach 1,000 kids and get them back into school. I've done a number of disability projects throughout, primarily the Valley area in Kathmandu Valley. We provided a Braille embossing printer, and that's a printer that will actually print photos or pictures so that you can actually, how do you learn about the human body if you can't trace out, here's where the bones are, here's where these organs are. So that was a $20,000, that was a district grant, but we involved many clubs in that, and that was with Nepal Association for the Welfare of the Blind, NAWB. We provided down in Dharan. So there's a Toronto School for the Deaf in Dharan. And so we've been, on the nonprofit side, we've been working with them for the last 10, 12 years. But our Rotary Club provided that the government built a new hostel for them because their existing hostel was damaged in the earthquake. And our club provided all the kitchen appliances, all the bedroom, the beds, the dressers. We provided the TV. I took over 100 pounds of books for the library and provided the doors and the windows because that wasn't included in the construction provided by the government. So it's kind of, and then several other projects related to disability all throughout different areas of Nepal. I've been primarily doing district grants because we don't have the funding for the global grants. They're so much bigger. And in the past, I didn't have the money to be able to do that. And now I've, not so much for Nepal, but we have a donor from India, and he works at Microsoft, and he's donated a generous sum of money to our committee for projects in India. So we've been able to complete 2 global grants in India because of his donation. And there's also a lot of DDF in India, as you were explaining to me this morning, Naomi, about your sister cities. There's a lot of that DDF in India that we can use for global grants. So we've been starting to do more global grants in India, and I'd like to do some in Nepal, but I don't have the funding at this point to be able to do that.
Hey, Mark, I thought I saw Mark's video light up.
Well,
He's
Mark
still
is here.
Okay, so I guess, Mark, we'll come back to you. So Sanjvan, you're in Canada. So have you done different projects than Rose, or you do?
Yeah, I think most of the projects we have done together with Rose. But my journey started from that big earthquake in Nepal. Like I was doing Rotary project and I was there to experience the first hand. So I stayed back in Nepal and started doing some relief projects. So I started collecting the funds and buying some relief material and going to all the village and distributing like rice and grains and blanket on whatnot. So since I came back to Canada, I've been organizing a Walk for Nepal event, and I have been raising every year around 3,000, 4,000, and my club will match up my raise fund. So I've been doing a couple of, and my focus has been school, because I saw the school damage in first hand, and 1 million kids were out of school, and that was the biggest motivating factor for me. So I my club helped to rebuild the school, Triratna school in Bungmati, one co-op school. So we helped that one to rebuild. And initially we funded one school to rebuild in Gorkha area where the massive damage had happened. And then we supported one of the school in Techu area just to rebuild one classroom there, because classroom was completely destroyed, and then there's no benches and all these things. And then last year, Rose and I and our club, we partnered together and we distributed 100,000 hot meals to the street people. So that was our $30,000 US worth of project. So altogether, my club has done more than 100,000 US project on my own, like with the help of some district and all these things. But good news is since 2015, Walk for Nepal event, which I have a nice lake here, like which is 6.2 perimeter, and I organized a walk, and it's getting popular, and it's one of the major event in for Nepal. So all in all, so Rose and I have been together for quite some time now. Yeah, because my idea was to create some sort of food bank in Nepal. I think PDG Rajip also probably aware. You were in our meeting when Dr. Lekhan, or when we launched that program of feeding 100,000 hot meals. And my thought was, in Canada, we have a food bank. In US, we have food bank. And Nepal, we don't have a food bank concept. So my thought was, if viable, why not start the food bank concept in Nepal, and maybe we can start the distribution project, because right now in Nepal, food bank, people don't know much about food bank, what is that? And if you start collecting the grain and all these things, so my thought was, Nepalese people don't eat any canned food, but they do eat rice and like chickpeas and all these grains. So best thing would be if you can even distribute dal and rice. That's all we need to give them when they need, because they need to, they know how to cook. All they need is one dry rice and one dry dal and one dry chana, like chickpeas, that's all. And they can survive, they can sustain very well. So my thought was, why not we create the food bank? And that's going to be our legacy program for ongoing basis. And because there was a big flood in Dhulikhel, and people didn't know how to, there was no distribution center. And my thought was, why not we create that one, and maybe we can even use JCs or Lions or other local football club, local Bhajan Mandali group, and all these things, you know. And every village has a local like a football club or little temple or mandir where people go and gather something, you know. So that way we can like spread out our networking, and at the event we don't have to go ourselves, but we can utilize those local organizations and give the food, and they know who need what. So that was my thought, but it hasn't materialized yet. So So for me, if that is possible, that's something I would like group to explore as well for the ongoing basis.
So I'd like to add for Rob Rose, who wasn't able to meet with us tonight, right? Rajiv, do you know Rob Rose from, I mean, he's retired, Rob Rose
Yeah,
and
I
his
think,
organization?
yeah, PDG, Rajiv, I think you have met Rob and.
Yes, I have.
So you're aware, because I sit on his
In
board
fact-
of directors as well, so.
Yes. In fact, I did drive him to Dhulikhel once. He was here for a program, and he
Yeah, I
and
think
me,
so,
like,
yeah.
we drove together to Dhulikhel, so I know.
Okay, so you're aware of the work that we've been doing along those lines. So we just began, creating an organic farming program for people with disabilities. And we're developing that right now, and that's going to start up hopefully in January. Where is the noise coming from?
Ranjiv, I think there is a problem in your thing. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
that's good.
Now because I'm using
They-
so robot
uh,
yeah.
Ranjiv, actually, we cannot hear you. There's some disturbance coming from your side. I think you need to. Yeah, still disturbance.
Yeah, okay, sir. Now you can hear me. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, but still there is a disturbance actually, the background. I don't know, something, some sort of noise is coming actually.
Okay, sir. I will raise it.
Okay. So what we wanted to do today was to try and so there's a lot that we've been doing in Nepal. But is there, Rajiv, is there anything, any ideas that you have that maybe we can explore for a bigger partnership, a bigger project that really can make an impact?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, and good morning and good evening to you. Your good evening, my good morning. And Ranjiv, I think you need to, okay, thanks. Good. First of all, let me thank you, all of you. You have been doing so much. So good to hear the amount of work that you have been doing in Nepal. So thank you very much on behalf of all the Rotarians here and my governor. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for the wonderful work and the interest that you have taken to work in this part of the world. So thank you very much for that. Yes, actually, I have been doing a lot of projects myself, not for the last 2 years when I was busy as a district governor-elect and district governor. There were so many other things, other responsibilities, which Naomi knows very well. So apart from that, I have been doing a lot of projects from the time we had our matching grant before the global, even before the global grant started, before 2013, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 12, when the global grant started. So we have done a lot of in health sector and in water and sanitation and other things that I've done a lot of work. But at present, yes, I'm working on, I think Naomi and Arjun did mention about a project in Midwestern Nepal, place called Jajarkot, which is a very, very, I think Sanjeevan must be knowing about that place. It's a very remote area of Nepal. And we are working on a hospital there, which of course Naomi, Arjun, Mark, they're all aware of it, and of course they did support that project also. So Jajarkot is a district of one of the districts of Nepal among 77 districts that we have in Nepal. It's one of those one of the districts in Mid-West Nepal, and it's southwest. Sorry, it's northwest of Nepal. It's northwest of Nepal. And there we are starting a hospital. And that place where the hospital is going to be started is a place where in a radius of about 20-25 kilometers, there are no other health centers also, health posts also. There are no health posts. So these people have been suffering a lot. And it was very generous of a resident on that place who contributed certain amount of land, and then the politicians there, the local politicians and the member of parliament, the fund that they get for the development of their constitution, they contributed and they built the building, and Rotary came in as to supply the equipments for the hospital. So it's about $200,000 project, close to $200,000 project. And it's near completion. Near completion meaning like the buildings have been built, and and we have given orders for the equipments, and it should be here in another month, 1.5 months time, and then maybe in another 3 months time or 4 months time, the hospital should get started. So that's one project we're working on, and that's a very important project for the simple reason, like I said, people in that area, there I don't know, maybe what 100 to 150,000 people living in that area. It's a pretty big area, so they have been like had to travel a lot of distance just to get that simple health, help in any sort of health problems, to get the help in any sort of health problems. So then the other project that we are working on is on a biogas project. And now I don't know if you know how aware of you about these biogas projects. These biogas projects, my club and me being one of the main thing, has been very, very effective for the simple reason. If you go to remote areas, even now, but we started this about 10, 11 years back, and we continue except for that 2 or 3 years of break that we had to take due to other technical problems. But apart from that, we have been doing that, and it has been very, very impactful and very effective for the simple reason, like I said, if you go to the remote areas of Nepal, even now people are using wood fire, in the kitchen. So, even now, so, what is happening is, of course, the health hazard is there for the women, especially because in this part of the world, most of the cooks are the women, the wives, they cook all the food for the family, and the husbands are the bread earners. Actually, usually that's what still there. Now it has come down, but still that sort of thing is still there. So and these ladies, would have to like walk nearly half a day or maybe 2 hours, and go and get these fuel, this fuel from like, chopping down the branches, because you cannot cut trees here. It's very strict. The government is very, very strict. And it's a big offense if you like, chop down trees without the permission. But, just to get those fuel also, like those branches for the fuel, they had to walk 2 hours, 3 hours. And there were a lot of accidents because these branches, you had to climb the trees. These ladies had to climb the tree and to, get those branches cut and bring them. So there were a lot of ladies would fall down, and all these things. So there were a lot of problems with this. And the other problem was, of course, the open defecation. People like, the whole village, not having a proper toilets. So what we did actually was, we started like, with the animal waste, actually, the biogas we started was with the animal waste. But then again, the problem is during the winter, especially in this time of the year, it gets very cold in Nepal. So it's not sufficient. The animal waste is not sufficient to get to bring out sufficient gas for cooking. So what we encouraged them was to use human waste. It was very difficult to convince them because, getting the human waste and from there, producing gas from it to cook in the kitchen, it was very difficult. But somehow we managed. But then, once that happened, then the whole thing changed, because what we did was we did this global grant on another global grant in building toilets. So what we promised these people was, if you start using these human waste, we will build toilets, maybe toilet for each house, if not at least one toilet for 4 or 5 houses, those cluster of houses that are there. So that way, things changed, like, the village got cleaner because they had a proper place to go and like, they had proper toilets. Then these women got those, the biogas thing that came up with that. So, the health improved because they all had this because of this heavy smoke that came out from those wooden fuel, there were a lot of lung problems, problems in the lungs and other health issues. So that also improved. And then these people, they saved time. And then what these ladies did was, they went back for this, they went back to school, I would say. Those people, the ladies who had no education background, who could not even write their names. What we did was, we started this elder, what do you call that? For education for the elders. So, we started those classes, and they had more time to spend with their children, and then when these children went to the school, they themselves went to their own school, where they could learn few things, So that way this is in Lamjung that we did. That's also very close to Pokhara. I don't know how many of you have been there. There are a few villages there, and we had, I forget the district, we had Dr. Wally Brown from Salt Lake City, actually. I don't know which district that falls in. I forget the number right now. But he was a doctor, he's a dentist now, he's retired. And he was a past district governor, and he came in and he helped us to do this project. So now we are continuing that project. The project was so effective and so impactful. We are continuing those projects in other parts. Apart from Lamjung, we are doing it in other parts, in a place called Navalparasi, that is also in Midwest Nepal. And then in places which are very close, because you'll be surprised. I think Arjun, maybe Sanjeevan also knows about this. Kathmandu, it could be a bit developed city, but you don't have to go very far from Kathmandu. You don't have to drive very far from Kathmandu to see how the people are living there. It's really sad. Things have improved. It's not that it has not improved in the last 10 years, 1 decade. Things have improved. The life their own life has come up. The living standard have come up. But still, there are people who are still having a very hard time with this simple, basic needs, water, sanitation, all these things. So that's what we are concentrating in. And yes, I think Arjun very rightly mentioned that you want to do a project, you have to go outside Kathmandu. Kathmandu, it's a modern city. People have everything. So that's something we nearly have to explore, do all the need assessments and all those things. So right now, I think Arjun and me, we did have a talk on this. Now that environment has opened, one of the focus areas have been added by the Rotary Foundation from this year. So I just thought maybe we should, why not think of something in environment also? And I had my team, a group of Rotarians who are expert in environment, who have been working with different government or other different agencies in Nepal, and who have got a good experience on this environment. And we were discussing about few things, and and one is mainly one thing that we thought there were 2 or 3 things that we thought we just shortlisted what can be done. One is, of course, the water harvesting. There's still a lot of water problem in different parts of Nepal, even in Kathmandu. Even now, beside now we've got a big project, but that still has not started. Still there's a lot of water problem. So one big thing that is of big demand in this part of the world is, of course, the water harvesting. And of course, we have a very limited monsoon season, that just got over about a month back. So somewhere around in mid-May, the monsoon starts here. May, June, July, August, about 4 months. Early September, the monsoon ends. So that's the time, when they can store this water and then use it for the rest of 5-6 months, whatever it is. So that's one thing that we are really thinking. And a lot of people have been asking us to do this on rainwater harvesting. The other thing, of course, because of the water shortage, the ground level, the water level, the ground level is drying. So maybe recharging the ground. That's another thing. A lot of lakes and all, these things. Well, that's also having having an effect in the environment. So maybe I was talking to these environmentalists, and what they were saying is now, especially in Kathmandu, the government has disallowed deep water boring. The deep water boring that they had to do. They have disallowed that. You're not allowed to go for deep watering for the simple reason because the water, beneath the ground was drying up. The level was going down. And this could easily be a big problem again, later on, because the land itself, when there's no water, it gets weak, and then, all those problems could come. So they have, but still they are shallow boring and all these things are still there. But the quality of water is not very good, in the shallow boring. And then you have to do all that filtration and all those things. And that itself costs a lot of money. So people, and then of course the maintenance cost also is very high. So that's another thing, maybe recharging the groundwater. The other thing we were talking about is, which is really affecting, especially Kathmandu. This is something that can be done, is the hospital wastage. The hospital, the wastage that comes out from hospital. We had one of our clubs did do that with our Japanese clubs. Some time back, we did a global grant where, you know, they brought this big equipment where they could, the hospital wastage could be destroyed. But that's one school. I'm just giving a vague, and you know, this outline. I'm not going into the details how this can be done, and we have not calculated the cost and all those things. And then the other thing that we said, and I think Arjun also mentioned this when we had a discussion, was the recycling, the plastic recycling. And one of our friends here even went to the extent of saying that we can recycle these things and make them into t-shirts or building blocks. And, you know, this can be a community development thing. You know, we can, like, you know, go like, I think Rose was talking about, why not concentrate in one community and try to do some work there so that, you know, they get some work also, and, you know, some ways of earning their wages also. You know, that's one thing also that can be thought of. So these are just a few things that we had that initial discussion that we could do. But of course, as you all know, Nepal, you know, there are a lot of projects that can be done in water, sanitation, health, even in earthquake, you know, like I know government has done a fantastic work as far as earthquake is concerned in the last 5 years for the rehabilitation and other things. But despite that, there's still space where, you know, for people to help people, you know, who are affected by the earthquake about 5-6 years back. So there's a lot of scope. So main thing what we need to focus is, first we need to decide on, should we go for the environment, or should we go for the health, or should we go for the water and sanitation? What? You know, first we need to decide on that. But demand for everything is there. For health, I said there's so much of demand. There's so many projects we can do. For environment, yes, there is so much of demand. For water and sanitation, yes. For literacy, yes. You know, we have our own Teach project that is going on by the district. It's been done by the district, the literacy, Nepal literacy mission that we call it. So there are a lot of projects that is going through that also, that is happening through that also. But still there's some, because as a governor, I remember, though despite the COVID thing, they were like what? During my time, when I took over as governor, there were 126 clubs in Nepal and Bhutan. Of course, Bhutan just having one club, there were 126 clubs. And by the time I finished my tenure, there were 150 clubs. So I added about 25 clubs, 51 clubs. I added about 25 clubs. And I was one of those, though despite the lockdown and all, I still managed to visit 110 clubs in person. You know, physically, I still managed to do that. So, and I was one of those fortunate ones where I could go, where these clubs went and showed me their projects. And they're doing wonderful projects. You know, there are wonderful projects in all focus areas. You know, in literacy, like I said, water and sanitation. You know, I went to these schools where they because of the involvement of one Rotary club, the whole face of the school changed. They had 500 students, and because the government was not, being a government school, they did not have sufficient budget. So the standard of the school went down, and the students, they lost all the students, and it came down to just 40 students. Once this club took over that school, they changed the whole face of the school. Not much. It was just about what, 500, 600,000 rupees, you know. So about maybe $3,000, $4,000, yours $3,000 or $4,000. And now from 40 students, now they already have 300 students. Because of the involvement of Rotary, you know. So I have visited, you know, there were so many things. The earthquake, because of earthquake, the people from one village were displaced. So one of the clubs in Banepa, you know, where you must have gone, it's on the way to Dhulikhel, if you have Banepa. One of the clubs in Banepa, they just brought water to that place. That's all they did. Once they got the water, they rebuilt their houses. You know, then they had their toilets, then they started the vegetable farming, and then they started to sell those vegetables, and they start to have some sort of income for themselves. So, you know, one small thing has made a lot of changes. So I can give you so many examples, because last year I was lucky, one of those lucky ones who could visit so many projects. So there's so many things that can be done. So maybe first of all, like Naomi, I would say, like, you know, in conclusion, I know I've talked a bit too long, but in conclusion, I would say we need to focus on what exactly we want to do. Should we start on environment now that the new focus areas have come? or should we should we continue our work on water and sanitation, or in health, which has got a great demand, especially in the rural areas, or literacy that also has a great demand in rural areas. So that is something that we need to focus, because I don't believe in doing too many things and too many scattered things, that impact cannot be seen, if you do that. So maybe we should concentrate in one place and do in one work, complete that, and then go and do something else somewhere else, some other thing somewhere else. I think that would be a better thing to do. But if you have better other suggestions, I'll be more than happy to listen to that. Thank you. Sorry, I talked a bit too long, but thank you very much.
So
Oh, thank-
Ranjit, do you have anything?
Yes, I mean, I got the inspiration to talk. Finally.
So do you have any ideas? Sorry,
Yeah,
Naomi.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rajiv sir, for the wonderful speaking, because you are always our motivational in a lot of things. So my club, first I tell my club, then because since I'm from the district official, so I would like to say something that we need to focus in global grant. Like my club is, we do every year 80 to 19 project every year, 80 to 90 project, and we did at the 44 district of Nepal. And we love to work in very remote areas where hardly few organizations they go. Okay. So you have mentioned in the robot roads, we are doing the global grant with the robot roads club in school construction. So after earthquake, we built more than 8 school, and out of it, two buildings are from the global grant. So we are the first club to do global in Nepal and also in the reconstruction and something. So so three things I think we need to focus while doing the global grant in Nepal, especially as Rajiv sir, IPD sir, he mentioned a lot of things, but it depends, because Nepal is geographically complex, and we have the a lot of culture and a lot of places where the culture and other things are not similar, they are different each other. So it's like Nepal is a mini country, so it's depending upon the geography where we are working, we have to decide. So at moment, water and sanitation, livelihood, and the health, it's I think Nepal need support in that three areas. Like in province 2, where my club is working, actually I'm the primary contact for 21 global grant already before, and at moment I'm doing primary contact for the 7 global grant extra, because my club provided me the lot of responsibility to look this thing. So with my experience of more than 400 projects, so I'm sharing you the things. If we are doing the global grant in the southern part of Nepal, especially the province 2, which is the less educated and a lot of poor people there, I think the water and sanitation is a better things, because my club is doing global grant at moment at that part of the Nepal, and where for 800 students there is only the 4 toilets. If for the 800 students there is only the 4 toilets, and as per the WHO standard, the for 25 students we need 1 toilet. So it is all it is not happening as per the WHO. So we are working on this area, and when we explore the other places, other schools, then the story is the same. The lot of students and no toilets. So for the 1000 there is 2 or 3 toilet, means it is hampering the it is hampering the education, because children, they don't go to, there is not a proper toilet, and it is the condition is bad to worse for the girls students, because during menstruation it is not possible to change the pad and other thing in limited toilet. They get absent in the during the menstruation, and they stay in home, and in due process they don't often leave the school. So we are working in this area. So if we are working in that region, then we need to focus in the water sanitation. And again, in the same area, we are, we did the need assessment last time. It is the jungle. It is near to the, the province too. And there is a grave water problem. People are taking the water directly from the river. It is near to the jungle area. It is near to the, the Churu region of Nepal, where you can find a lot of wild animals. So few of the villagers, they get killed by the leopard and tiger while taking the while going and taking the water. We did the need assessment, and fortunately we also won the Niagara Falls Rotary Niagara Falls grant. It is the, it is a cluster of the 8 clubs of Rotary, and we submitted. We won 28,000 USD. With that, we were competing with the many projects or like this. So this kind of a story, we can find a lot of things, so it's better in Nepal if you do like the water and sanitation. It will definitely, people need to definitely the project in this area. And another thing is, after COVID and after earthquake, most of the people, they lost the source of livelihood. So that's why my club is, supporting like 40% of our project with the livelihood. And we did also the district grant with the club with the, the goat farming. And we are providing, we need the sustainable livelihood project. So these 2 things, I think at moment we need very much. We cannot ignore the health section and education section, but I'm telling about with the current perspective, like the health, access to the better health is always being a challenging. It's a quite expensive. Even during the COVID, we have seen our health system has been exposed, and we knew how our structure is not something for the better health. So these 3 things is really we needed at the moment. And my experience and my club experience with a lot of projects, like the individually it's 400 project I involved since 10 years, and in together with my club did more than 1,000 projects. Our experience tell this 3 focus area is what we can change the life of the people and the need of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we need to explore all the different projects and maybe prioritize them. So Rajiv, we want to lean on you, because you see the whole district and what the needs are all around. So we're looking for something that is possible to do with us and maybe some other districts in the world, other countries, and see if we can join hands and do a very meaningful project that would really make a difference. So, if you could maybe work with Arjun and prioritize some of them, and then we can, as a group, take a look at what's possible and see what other kinds of help we can get from other organizations and other districts.
Yeah, thank you. And
okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Like I did say, like, we have to. There's so much of demand here, for every area. There's so much of demand, actually. Like, Ranji was talking, and so was I. Like, talking about water and sanitation. Yes, there's so many people who need water and sanitation. Education. Yes, there are so many things that can be done in different schools all around the country. Health. Yes, there's so many things that can be done in health. So, you talk about environment. Yes, there's so many things we can do in environment here itself. So there's so much thing. Now, what we have to really bring it down to is the budget. First, of course, the focus area where we want to thing, and importance. And everything is important. You go to one village, maybe they have got water and sanitation. They're in desperate need of water and sanitation. You go to another school, maybe they'll have desperate need for toilet or for a proper classroom or for some equipments for the school. There's so much of demand. There's so much of demand. It's so like, I can come up with so many things. I was in the Arjun project that to inaugurate the project that Arjun was doing in Damauli. And when I reached there, I was talking to some of the locals there who are benefiting from that water project. apart from the water project, there were so many things they were telling me, sir, can we have this, sir? Can we have this, sir? Can we have this? So they want everything actually, you know. So it is difficult, but Naomi, yes, we need to like, you know, really concentrate on few places and few things that we need to do. Because like I said, if we start putting our hands in too many things, then, you know, certainly then again, then the result may not be very, very satisfactory. And so we need to, yes, I will work on that, but I was mainly because Arjun was mentioning more on the environment front. So that is why I did talk to you on more on environment. But apart from that, like I did mention, there's so many things, you know, I just need to call few clubs and they'll send me a list of projects that they want to do. So this school, this is having problems. So there is a health post, they need this. So there is this a village where they need water. So there is this, they need that, you know, so many things. So that's not going to be very difficult. But what we need as a team need to do is like, you know, we need to like decide on where we want to focus. And of course the impact, you know, which has going to give us maximum impact, where maximum number of people are going to benefit for a long time. And of course, the most important thing is the sustainability part. Yeah. That is a big challenge that I have seen. And this is what I have been, as a governor, I have been asking the Rotary Foundation also. What about sustainability? How many projects have we gone back after 2 years? To how many projects have we gone back after handing over to the community and checked, you know, if those projects are running the same way that they were running when we handed over to them? You know, those things are the big challenges are there. So, you know, these are the things that we really need to, because it's a very, very sad thing. You know, when you go back, I have been to a few of the places where Rotary had done these projects and they're not working. And it really breaks your heart, because, you know, it's us who have contributed to the foundation. It is our money that has come and, you know, done those work. So those things also need to be taken care of. So there's so many things, but yes, it is possible. And I'm glad we've got a good team here, because I have been working with District 5000. So I think these are Naomi, Arjun, and Mark. You know, all these people have been good friends and good supporter of mine. Now I've found Rose, Sanjeevan, and all these people. So I'm sure we should be able to figure out a few things in a month's time. Let me look around. And I'm sure Arjun and me will be in touch.
It could be that it's not one project. It could be several. So Rose had an idea. If you take one town, and so say Arjun does the water project, Rose does the education piece, and someone else does another district can do the environment or the agriculture part. So if we put them all together and we can help that one town. So for instance, for Chunder, you know, Arjun is saying people are coming back. So, you know, is there a need to educate people, to give them some means to micro loans to start a business, you know, so we can do, you know, something, and not necessarily one project. It's many projects to help a town.
Yeah, that's a better way of doing it, because that's what I also meant. You know, if you've given them water, then, you know, then maybe they need the same place, maybe needing some help in education or health, and, you know, and then we can concentrate that and, you know, bring that particular place into a different level. Mm-hmm. From one level to another level, and then leave it to them, and, you know, talk about do the sustainability part, leave it to them, and then concentrate in another place. That's what I also want to do, because, you know, scattered, you know, work, you know, is not very impactful. It's not very impactful. So yeah.
And if we could create a model, if we could create a viable model, yes, then we could replicate that all throughout Nepal.
Yeah, and that can be a big example. Yeah, that can be a big example. Yes.
Particularly on the environmental sector, there are two reasons. As Rose just mentioned, we can do one like a pilot project so that we can replicate in multiple cities, or other clubs can follow the same kind of project. And the second thing is also we have to look from our perspective from here, and there are so many Rotarian, particularly younger. They really care about the environment, and that energizes them as well. So in our district also, there are many Rotarians who contacted me and asking, hey, why are you not doing any in global grant related to sustainability and the environment? So I think it has both, in both angles, it's it makes sense to do one, at least one in environmental sustainability section.
Arjun, what do you have in mind for environment?
Mark, one of the things we were talking different things, and one of the thing I am particularly, like to do. I did talk with PDG Rajiv, if it's possible. So the plastic is really a big problem, and there are many ideas. There are ways people can use plastic, but it's not possible to use all the plastics. So the best sink, if you like, or storage for plastic is road construction. So the plastic, in many places, plastic has been used to construct road material, and it makes a really good road, and there's no limit. You can use as much plastic as you can or have. And then another thing is you don't need quality plastics. You can use any quality of plastic in the road construction. It seems that's one of the way to manage plastic. And in places like Kathmandu, plastic is really the big problem. Actually, the plastic there we use in Kathmandu comes to Hawaii in 30-40 years. It doesn't take that long time. It's almost like DDT.
And we certainly know that the roads need to be improved in Nepal, if you've ever been on the roads.
Yeah, actually,
That's right.
just to add to what Arjun said, actually, my team did give me, this is very fascinating, actually. These Nepalese environment experts who worked on this, the Rotarians rather, and they give me like, they're not very sure of the cost, but yes, apart from road topping that Arjun was talking about, they were talking there, they were even given me like building blocks, blocks to build houses, and even t-shirts, making t-shirts out of these plastics. And my interest would be more on community development, giving them a chance to earn their own bread and butter. That is more, I think, I feel that way. That's my personal view, actually. I feel that, we should do projects where people should benefit, not only like financially, also they should get those benefits so that, they can support their family for in a way, in a long term, they should be able to support. So that sort of project, that's what I'm looking for, actually. So we should be able to have something. I'm sure we should be able to have something.
Okay. And I think it's going to take, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No. Rajiv, I'm glad you mentioned that. One thing that I'm really interested in with composting toilets is the possibility of using, the waste to do fertilizer and other, products and the thing is that once you have the composting toilets, you need to have someone in the village develop an enterprise that handles the waste material. So there are lots of connections. It's very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of really interesting.
I'm having trouble talking.
Yeah, are you okay? So, we have a lot of information here, a lot of ideas, and it's going to take a while to go through these ideas and vet them. So would it be okay if we can meet, say monthly, and then if people can write up their ideas and then we can vet the ideas, and then when we come down to, ones that we're capable of doing, if we can look at maybe next year to do a joint global grant, and all different global grants to help a city. So, so is this time and a day a good time to meet?
Yeah, for me, like morning is okay. Morning is okay, except like I miss my gym, that's all. So one day missing a gym once a month is all right. Good excuse not to go to the gym.
Yeah, it's worked for me too. But actually, I just did my gym right now before the meeting. Because Friday usually I don't work, and which works fine me. Like 6 o'clock is it is 6 o'clock evening for us, right? So Friday evening.
Naomi, do you want to fix a date or do you want to fix a day?
Well, if we, yeah, well, let's do a date. So if we look at Fridays at 4 o'clock, So if we're looking at December, maybe December, well, maybe we want to skip December and go to January.
I think let's go to January, like a first Friday of each month, something like that. Let's see, when is the Friday on
Okay.
January?
Would January 7th,
January 7th.
January
seems pretty
7th at
good.
4 o'clock, Hawaii time, 4 o'clock? Okay, so first Friday of every month at 4 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. That's
So-
that's still a month from now. That's it. Today is what, 3rd, 4th. Our today is yours 3rd, our 4th of December. So nearly a month from now. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
So-
And so that way we can start to gather some information of possible projects, and then we bring them all together and we can start vetting and looking for other partners.
So when you say your 4 p.m., that means is Rose is our 6 p.m.
It's our 6 p.m. Yes.
It's exactly like today. Okay.
Yes. So Naomi, do you think we should be sharing these ideas amongst our, with via email amongst ourselves? Because we can't share all this information possibly in one meeting, I don't think.
No, I think email is good.
So that we all be familiar with each other's ideas, and then maybe we can.
Yeah, I think like before we wrap up, I think one thing I like to say also, there is no shortage of project in Nepal because I mean we can do so many things. It's insane that, and every community would need something, right? But we can do in bits and pieces, do one thing and do something and move on. We can do that one, or we can do one legacy project, which will just, as let's say, let's create a system, or we can do something which creates a system, and we may not be there, PDG Rajiv may not be there, or, but at least that system will carry on. So I was always thinking to do some kind of like a legacy program, like I mean, and why not we think outside the box? It doesn't have to be Rotary project as such. I mean, we can involve the Rotary. Rotary can be our partner, and as we are Rotarian, but why not do something with the Leo Club, Lions Club, JSCs, and the local organization, so that we have a networking system, and we can create some system that, like, as a need of when something is needed, we can mobilize that community and do the things we need to. So my theory is, I don't know what exactly that would be, but I'm thinking, let's create the system. Let's create some kind of legacy program which always stay there for future generation. That's my thought.
Thank you. Sounds good. Okay, so are we good for January 7th, 4 p.m.? And then we can email each other with some ideas, and then let's start to make a list and then see what our timing is. So Mark, you need to help us with some timing on global grants. I hope you're okay, Mark.
I'll be okay tomorrow.
Okay, okay,
Well, global
I
grants
lost
can
my
be
voice.
submitted at any time, Mark, right?
right.
From my side anyway, we can. So,
It could, but yeah, for funding side, we need to make sure we got it in advance so that we can get our funding and not use it on something else.
all right, so that, because I was thinking this is probably going to be 21, 22 year by the time we get all this together.
Maybe 22, 23.
22,
Oh,
23.
22,
yeah.
23, yeah, I'm sorry, we're in 2021. I get confused, okay.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
holidays to you too.
Very
Thank
nice,
you.
everybody.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
seeing
you.
you.
Thank
Good to
you.
see y'all. Take care. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Rajiv.
Namaskar.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That went pretty well. I didn't mean to butt in a couple of times. I'm really sorry.
No,
Naomi.
no, that's okay. It's hard on Zoom because only one person can talk, right?
Right, and I was like, oh, shoot, but I think this might work. I think this is going to be a good collaboration, however it works out.
So Arjun, on our side, we're gonna lean on you to help guide us.
Sure. Yeah, I will communicate with Rajiv and Ranjiv, right? Ranjiv both.
Rajiv.
Yeah. So I have their contact, and The environment side, it needs lots of work because it's like more like science, you know,
Right.
because it has to be promising. And that's sort of my expertise too. So, I mean, not all sort of things, but the natural environment particularly. So
Well,
Okay,
in
that's
that
great
sense,
because that's what you bring to the table, because that's not my area of expertise at all. I know more about the water and sanitation and all the other aspects. So,
okay,
but definitely as you started now, I mean, we really want to be impactful. In this one, impactful means like a model project, right? As Rose just mentioned, so that we can replicate in multiple places in the futures.
yeah, yeah. So it's that whole the saying of you don't want to give them fish, you want to show them how to fish for themselves, right? So we
Yeah.
need it to be sustainable.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
comes with the community development piece, which creates jobs, which was the bottom line as to what is needed in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to have jobs. People need to have jobs.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Rose, for reaching out to us. So we got to thank Greg Horn for passing the word on to you.
Yes.
Thank
we
you,
do.
Rose. Really,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Nice meeting you,
Okay.
Arjun. Thank
Okay.
you so
Okay.
much. Have a good night,
Thank you.
guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.